We have just passed the halfway point of this new league phase format in the Women's Champions League. Let's take a look at some of the notable fixtures going into Matchday 4 starting tomorrow and then Thursday. This year's debutantes, Manchester United, they're sat in third. They're up against Wolfsburg. Top of the table side, Lyon playing Juventus. And a big game, some would say season-defining Arsenal, who are up against Real Madrid. Okay, then the big ones on Thursday. Can PSG keep their hopes alive when they take on Bayern Munich? And we're treated to a replay of last 3-year semi-finals between Chelsea and Barcelona. You can catch all of this on Paramount Plus. Okay, everybody, so we're going to be previewing this Women's Champions League Matchday 4. But before we do that, you've been on our coverage last week. You got introduced to the team. What was your favourite moment from last week, Alan?
Okay, Hannah. We had to make our predictions ahead of Bayern Arsenal. And I came out hot and said 3-2 to Bayern.
Yeah,
not everybody agreed with me. Down 2-0 at halftime, I was thinking, I'm getting fired. But you know what? The girls, they did me proud, and it finished 3-2. That's one of my proudest moments so far in my new broadcasting career.
Yeah, even in the post-match, I remember we done let's actually go back to what you said in the pre-match, and we done a replay, didn't we?
I was sweating at halftime.
Well, you done a good job. Okay, so let's preview this Matchday 4. We've got some big marquee matchups.
Oh, yeah.
What are some storylines that we should be looking out for going ahead into these games?
Well, I think we should start with Man United. It has almost been what you could call a fairy tale run for the debutantes. Now, this past weekend, they get crushed by Man City. They're heading into a tough game against Wolfsburg. Will we see this kind of dream come to an end? I don't know. They looked a little bit fatigued.
Yeah, because, like you said, they're debutantes. I don't think anyone expected them to do this well. But is it going to get to a point now where we're seeing they don't have the depth? We're seeing them trying to manage the WSL and the Women's Champions League, which they've never, ever had to do before. Are they going to get to a point where they kind of fall off if they lose against Wolfsburg?
This is where it becomes interesting, this conversation of the teams that play in leagues where they completely dominate versus the WSL is such a competitive league, and they're having such huge, hard, fatiguing games in between the Champions League games. So I also think we have to mention Tullis Joyce.
Yeah.
Unclear how long she will be out. A fractured eye socket. That sounds so painful. But I do think Middleton Patel had a great game against PSG. Nothing she could have done on that amazing goal. But yeah, I think Wolfsburg has the edge on this one. I do think we'll see Pop and Berenstein much more involved than we did when, Wolfsburg had a tough game against Lyon.
Yeah, so do you think those will be the key players for Wolfsburg?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Manchester United side?
And they know they didn't get to do what they loved to do in that game. Wolfsburg was so defensive when they had this strategy, the 5-back going against Lyon. This is going to be a different team, a different game, a different mindset, very different game plan. So I think it'll be tough for Man United, but I hope they prove me wrong, and I want this story to continue for them.
I think they've been kind of, we always say we're loving Leuven, but Manchester United have been that team.
You love Leuven.
I love Leuven. But Man U have been this side that everyone really wants them to do well, and they're third at the moment. We want to see it carry on, but could this fairy tale end? I mean, up against this Wolfsburg side, who are very difficult to play. Okay, the next storyline, I think, is going to be all about Arsenal.
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of the conversations are around Arsenal because it feels like they're slipping. It feels like they're sliding. Is this unraveling? So to not get a convincing performance over the weekend and to go into this game, they have to win. The performance doesn't, I don't want to say the performance doesn't matter, but it almost doesn't matter because all they need is
a win.
The result.
Yeah.
And that could turn things around.
Yeah, this time last year is when we really saw Arsenal start to pick up. They start to win in the Women's Champions League. They start to do well in WSL. They need that now, don't they?
They do, and the manager, Renee Slagers, she said it is not good enough, direct quote, after the collapse against FC Bayern. So what are the answers? No one has given us what the answer could be. I don't know if this is controversial, could playing Chloe Kelly more? Could we see that?
Why is that controversial?
Well, I think the strikers are really, really good, but I think we did mention it last week. Why aren't we seeing her start? Is that a player that's skill set has been missing? And it's time for a change, I'm going to say.
Especially when we saw Arsenal 2-0 up last week. And then they fell 3-2. Like you said, performances, they could have a good first half, but it doesn't matter if they lose at the end of the day. That's 0 points.
And this isn't a given.
No, exactly. This will be a hard game. Moving on to the next storyline, though, PSG, because this is campaign defining.
This is the last chance, Hannah.
If they don't win, do you think that's them over this year?
Statistically, numerically, I guess they can't be eliminated if they lose this match. However, they're playing your favorites, Leuven. They're playing Benfica. Those aren't given. That's not a given 6 points.
Yeah.
And 6 points might not even be enough. So I just think this has been really, really disappointing, surprising. I'm not quite sure what's gone wrong. I know we weren't impressed with their defense. They do have a bye. They're not playing. They didn't play over the weekend. So hopefully they're rested and have just purely been able to focus on this fixture.
And they're up against Bayern Munich, who are on flying form at the moment, which you'll be very happy about. They didn't start their campaign very well, but they've picked up. So it will be a hard test against Bayern Munich.
It will, yes. Mentioning their opposition, I'm not sure if they will get it back on track because Bayern, after that comeback against Arsenal, look at the energy. I think we heard maybe something that Georgia Stanaway wasn't supposed to share, that Pernilla Harder wasn't feeling 100% going into the game. That's why we only saw her on those limited minutes. I think she's going to be ready to rumble. So Bayern has the edge on this one. But the story here is, of course, PSG and what has gone wrong this season.
I think if they get eliminated would be the surprise of this league phase, because I know they lost some players over the summer. They got a new coach, but I think we were all expecting them to at least get into the knockout phase. And if they weren't, it'd be very disappointing for them. On to our next storyline, which is arguably the marquee match. Matchday
here
4.
we go.
Chelsea versus Barcelona. What should we be expecting from this game? What's the storyline in this one?
Well, the storyline is, like you mentioned, they've met each other in the last 3 semifinals. What you didn't mention is that Chelsea lost all three of those semifinals. So this is a bit of an Achilles heel for Chelsea, a team that has dominated the WSL, the last 6 seasons. So for them to take the next level, they have to win the Champions League. And this will give us a taste if they can do that, because it is for the mentality, for your confidence. Barca will be confident going into this. But what I like about Chelsea is that their new signings don't have that ghost, don't have that history. So they're going into this game thinking, we're going to go toe-to-toe. There's a potential for goals here. I think maybe let's talk about the defense. Which defense will be able to withstand the attacking prowess of the other team? Yeah,
because you talk about Barcelona. I mean, goals this season, 14. Chelsea second most with 11. But has Barcelona really been tested this Champions League campaign?
No. Not at all. And so that is where we could see Chelsea's opportunity. And I am so excited to see Alyssa Thompson on that wing. Can she break them down? Does Barcelona adapt something that they never usually have to do because they know about the strength of Chelsea's attack? This is the game to watch, 100%.
And with this Chelsea side, the big story with them is, can they finally win Champions League? If they were to win tomorrow, do you think they've played the hardest team. They've gotten that out the way. If they were to come up against them in the semi-final again, they've got that edge, that confidence going up against Barcelona.
I think so. Another player that I'm hoping to see play more is Naomi Girma. She got 45 minutes on the weekend. The one thing here is, again, their games in the WSL, the domestic games, are hard. So can these players get their minutes managed to make sure that they are as fresh as possible when they now... You said it. If they win this game, I think they would become the favorites. They will stay in the top 4. That's kind of what we might be seeing. Who's in the top 4? Who's safe? And who has to do the playoff? The
confidence they would get if they beat Barcelona, I think, would be unmatched. We spoke about it in Matchday 3 as well. Chelsea have got so many strikers coming back from injury, so that's huge for them. Let's quickly just touch on, though, through Matchday 3. You mentioned, so we've got 3 match days left. We've got 4, 5 and 6. After Matchday 4, I think we're going to really start to see teams that are kind of set to get eliminated, but also the teams that are set to go into these knockouts or even the top 4, wouldn't you say so?
I do. That's why this match day is so exciting.
It's one of the most important, I would say, in this league phase.
And if Chelsea doesn't win, which we're not saying they will, you could see Wolfsburg leapfrog. They could get into the top 4. So there's a lot of opportunity here for movement, but I do think that we will get an idea of who is being eliminated, but there will still be a fight, I think, to get straight into the quarterfinals. You don't want to play the extra playoffs.
No, you don't at all. Okay, everybody, Matchday 4 is starting tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. You can catch that all on Paramount+.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.